Hey everyone, hope you're okay. So as promised for this month, we're talking about confidence. So I have got James, who is going to speak to us about gym confidence. So hey James, thanks for coming on. How are you doing?
Hi, Victoria. I'm very well. Thank you for having me. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. So if you just want to tell my clients like a little bit about you and obviously what you do.
Okay, so my name is James Kelly. I've been a personal trainer for just over 2 years now. I started my personal training career in Snap Fitness Gym in Ashton Gate, located in Bristol. And earlier this year, I made the decision to transition to Snap Fitness, so another branch of Snap Fitness, but in Filton, in another area of Bristol. Basically, yeah, it was a bit of a bad environment for me in that gym. Wasn't really enjoying it, not really getting on with one of the PTs. We pretty much clashed from day one. But very thankful for it. Learned a lot. I was really thankful for COVID because I was doing some outdoor sessions and it sort of like boosted my confidence experience as a first time personal trainer. So that was a bit of a blessing in disguise for me, really. And then moving up to Filton, it's a bigger gym. I feel I'm working with clients that I actually want to work with now. I feel like the demographics, yeah, very different. So really enjoying it, loving my one-to-one in a minute and looking to sort of transition more into online next year. But fitness has always been a massive passion of mine. I've been into it since, as long as I can remember really, and always remember like 16 years old, stepping into the gym for the first time, looking at the free weights area. Absolutely scared to bits, and this links in with this probably quite nicely.
Yeah.
No confidence at all. I didn't have a clue what I was doing for many years with diet, lifting weights, form, technique all wrong. But probably like you, Victoria, as well, got self-educated.
Yeah.
Learned through everything I could find online, podcasts, videos, everything like that. And yeah, that's definitely helped because unfortunately a personal training course doesn't teach you that much. It just puts you on the gym floor so you can teach someone to lift weights safely, but that is really just the start of your journey. So yeah, 2 years in, absolutely loving it. A long way to go, but it's amazing to see how far I've come right now, and it's brilliant to be able to teach my passion every day and actually helping people from a standpoint where I once was. So yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
And it's funny you say that about like the PT course, and I'm going to go off on a tangent straight away. I mean, we are talking about gym confidence, so it does relate. But yeah, when you do the PT course, it is nothing at all what you need to do, really. It just says how you should teach a class, the format that you should do, health and safety checks you should do with clients, like before starting a session and things like that. But there's never like, oh, this is how you do it. And a lot of PTs like might not openly tell you this, but they have something called imposter syndrome. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, so like imposter syndrome is just where you feel like you don't belong or you shouldn't be there and you don't know enough. And I think the gym confidence of like a PT, you think, oh, you've done this course, you know everything, you can just rock up and that's it. And it's like, no, every PT seems to have like imposter syndrome where they feel like they never know enough. And maybe that's why, like, you know, you've educated yourself and I continually educate myself because I just feel like just don't know enough. I don't know enough. I don't feel I've got imposter syndrome anymore. But 100% when I first started, I felt like I didn't know enough to be doing the job. So did you feel like that when you first started PTing?
Oh, 100%. I'll always remember to this day. So I stepped in on my first day and the three other personal trainers were there and I was just standing there. I was like, well, I don't know what to do because in a normal job, like you get you get someone sat with you to teach you the basics, but you're now self-employed.
Yeah.
So, okay, yeah, you go on something called gym rent where you do like hours for the gym to cover your rent to begin with. But I was like, so what do I do now? And I
And there's
remember,
no one there to teach you the ropes, is there?
no,
It's like
exactly.
off
There's
you
not.
go.
Yeah, and I've never run a business. It's my first self-employed role, and I was just standing there like, oh, I don't know what to do. And the assistant manager, it was COVID at the time, she was like, oh, you've got to check in and everyone. So I was like, you know what, you just got to go for it. I felt so nervous, but I just started introducing myself to everyone. I was like, oh, hi, I'm James. I'm a new personal trainer here. If you need any help with anything, please just approach me. And my words were stuttering. I was like, hi, I'm James. Yeah, I'm a new personal trainer. Honestly, it was a sham. I felt like I was going bright red. but I just stuck at it. I mean, no one really approached me, to be honest, but that's fine. And then I got my first client, and this was the scary one. I was like, oh God, what do I do? Okay. I remember like having like all the PAR-Q form, like client questionnaire already on my first day, thinking like I was going to get clients then. I was like, oh God, I've got to have everything ready.
Yeah.
And then I remember going outside to my car before the consultation to try and sign them up and like rehearsing it in like the wing mirror and just like, right, okay, we'll do this. But honestly, looking back, it was like the worst consultation I've probably ever done. And I probably confused the hell out of them. I was talking about like energy expenditure, calorie deficit, this is what we're going to do, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Well, again, it's
Anyway,
that imposter syndrome kind of creeping in, that
yeah.
you're not that, you feel that you don't know enough and you're not that confident. So then you kind of overcomplicate it by telling everyone all your knowledge. And to be honest, sometimes I still do that to this day. You know, I think if I get like a client or a consultation, you know, I want to tell everyone like, look, this is how much I know all this information. And, you know, there's PTs out there that don't even care, that don't get this imposter syndrome, but that's because they're not a great PT. But I think at the heart of that, like the way to overcome imposter syndrome or, you know, confidence issues is practice what you want to get better at and upskill your knowledge as well, you know. So get as much knowledge around that scenario. So, you know, like you said, you know, you got the PAR-Q forms, you got a consultation form, you know, you had that information to hand. So then it kind of makes it a little bit easier to kind of do what you were trying to do and be confident in what you were doing.
Yeah, definitely. And I think with the imposter syndrome, I was there thinking like going through all this, they were just going to like chirp up and go, oh no, that's not right, that's not how you do it. But it's like, whoa, James, take a back seat, hang on a minute, think about it, you're the professional here. Yeah, okay, I'm just starting my journey off 100%, but even if you muck up, they're not going to know because they come to you for help, kind of thing. But yeah, in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, it's like a script, I've got to get this perfect 100%, or they're going to go, I've said like a deficit was a surplus or whatever it was. And it's like, no, that's not the way it works. And as you said, 100%, you get more confident. And now going into a consultation, I could have never have like dreamed of being in this position, like speaking about the stuff I am and yada. And it's like another thing. It's like you're sort of asking these people for their like hard-earned money. So for me, because it's like so personal and it's always been a passion of mine, I want to do a good job. I don't want them to like fail. And I remember I had this like early client, and like after a month, she was like, oh, I've lost 0.4 kilograms or something like that. It was like really like little of a weight loss. And I was just there thinking, oh my God, I'm such a failure. But then I look back on it, I was like, well, hang on a minute, you haven't done anything I've told you to do. And then I was like, oh, okay, it's not just me. But that feeling of like failure, it showed me that I care about this and I always want to do a good job. And that's why I'm just trying to make my service better, always self-educate myself, value. And now looking back, like when I first started, I would literally just send them like this fat loss one-on-one PowerPoint, and it was just awful. But now like what I've got like in my like business is just offers so much more value. And as I said, like beforehand, I could never have seen myself at this point. And like we were just talking about earlier, basically like 2 years have passed. Where am I going to be in 2 years? And where is my business going to be there? So yeah, it is very scary, like anything starting. And I feel like people on the gym floor, they're nervous as it is like starting. They look at you as a personal trainer and they probably see you as like sort of like a superhero. Like when you train, it's like, oh my God, that looks amazing, they know what they're doing. But it's like, no, you don't understand what we are feeling. Like to approach people on the gym floor, talking to them, it is scary. It is really
confidence
scary.
in the gym goes both ways, like you say, you know.
100%.
Obviously we're going to talk about our best practices for clients, obviously going to the gym or, you know, a new environment for the first time. But then from a PT perspective, obviously we've got that. And, you know, people go, oh, I'm scared to go to a class. Imagine how scared I was to teach a class after just working in bars and restaurants. All of a sudden, I've got a wireless mic on, I've got a headset, I've got to run through like health and safety stuff, see if anyone's new in the class, if anyone's got any injuries, you know, talk through what the class is going to be, and then deliver a class and then do a cool down and a stretch and all that. And it's like, I think, yes, okay, it's right to be nervous, obviously, going into a class, but then, you know, don't feel that the people in there have never been in that situation, or that we have never felt that, because of course we have, you know, trying to teach a class, you know, yes, again, over time by doing things you get confident, and that's like kind of the underlying principle of just repeating things. But yeah, so people that are new and scared of coming in, just think everyone in that gym has been in your position at one point. And I think that's the most important thing to remember, regardless of who it is, whether they're teaching that class and they seem as confident as ever, they just got more years of practice than you have.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. And going back to the classes, I remember like teaching my first class, like, oh my God, I've never done a class before. So I went to like the assistant gym manager and I was like, well, I need help. He's like, okay, here's a basic circuit class. And now I look back on it, oh my God, it was like high knees, jumping jacks, like star jumps, and like all this rubbish stuff. And I was so nervous. And I was like, and now I look back and I was like, again, James, they're not going to know if you didn't put jumping jacks before like press ups, or press ups were meant to come up. No one's going to chirp up and be like, oh, well, actually, it was press ups after jumping jacks instead of whatever it was. And I remember like messaging like one girl from the gym. I was like, hi, could I just get some feedback? And she was like, yeah, it was okay. It just wasn't very challenging. And again, I felt like such a failure. I was like, oh my God, I've mucked up. I failed. But now teaching classes in like this new gym in Filton, it's like, it's quite well known for its classes. My classes have improved, and like anything, it's just practice, and you've got to learn from your mistakes. So I'm so glad like I made all those mistakes.
And everyone starts somewhere.
Exactly, they really do. And I think a good example of everyone like listening to this, if you look back on your first day at your first job, okay, or the job you're in now, for example, you were probably absolutely rubbish at it. As we said before, you've got someone there helping you manage the systems, but over time it's just going to become the new normal, like anything. And now you probably do your job without even thinking about it, but one day you had to be rubbish at it. You've always got to be rubbish at something. And this is where it comes into gym confidence. You've just got to start, okay, yeah, your bicep curl, your squat might be rubbish, but you've just got to start off. And this is something I will share. I couldn't do a Romanian deadlift or hip hinge until I was like 28, and I'll happily share that. Okay. It was only until like another PT taught me to do it, and in COVID I hip hinged properly and I felt it for the first time. I was like, oh my God, I just hip hinged, this is amazing. Like my back squat was awful. I've been benching wrong for like 10 years and I've only just learned it. And as PTs, we're still learning. All right, we're not going to get everything right, but that's not the point. It's just, we started off, we've made all the mistakes, we've learned, and as long as you learn from it, that's the most important thing.
And as well, that continual education as well. And you know, it's not like, oh, that's it, you've learned it, end of story. It's continually going over it, perfecting it, getting better, practice, routines, and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And if people just throw in the towel when they like sort of fail the first time, because I think I saw like a really good meme, it's quite cheesy, but I think it said fail stands for first attempt in learning. And as cheesy as it sounds, it's actually really true. And so you just learn from it. And at the time, failing feels awful. It really does. But I've had an example like this weekend. I sat down on Friday after I got back to the gym about 9 a.m. I was like, right, let's get these videos recorded for my educational portal. And I just smashed them out and it was great. But then I realized that I was using Loom, which is a like sort of a program you can like do
I use that for playing
while filming yourself. And I realized it was always running in the background. It was running really slow. So my video would like sort of like lag before the beginning. I was like, why is this happening? So I watched them back and I would just freeze for a little bit. I was like, that doesn't look professional. And then I realized, like, you go on the computer task manager or whatever it is, and it was always running in the background. So every video I had popped up, it was always running, and that's what made it so slow. So anyway, I removed all that and it just ran like clockwork. So I got through the videos and I was like, oh, this is brilliant. But then the mistake I made, and this is where I learned, is closing all those down. It didn't upload the video properly. So they're still now on my Loom, still uploading, but because I closed the process, it couldn't upload 100%.
Right.
And then I learned this last night and I was like, oh my God, I've just spent all that time. But I was like, no, look at this way, James, a positive and a negative. If you hadn't done that, all your videos would have froze, but now you know how to run it like clockwork. But if you hadn't made that mistake, you never would have learned and your videos would never have got better. So after doing this with you, I've got 10 to go, but it's fine because they're going to look better. And yeah, okay, I could have got them all done on Friday.
And I think that's the thing you've got to remember with confidence as well. You know, it's like, you're not going to go, oh, right, I really want to do this. Whether, obviously we talk about going to the gym today, you know, I really want to go to the gym. Like, it's not going to look perfect the first time you go. And it's about those baby steps. And no matter what you do, you're never going to be confident in everything. It's never going to be perfect first time. And I think because you look at like Instagram and Facebook and it's everyone's highlight reel of, oh, look at me, look how amazing I am. And it's like, people are only showing you the best side. People don't show you the worst side. They don't show you their epic fails. Like, you know, they don't say, oh, I've messed this up or I've done that. You only see what people want you to see, and you only see the best of people because that's all they want to put out, you know. And I can say, you know, sometimes I'm guilty of that as well. With clients and in this group, you know, I'm very honest with my clients of what's going on in my life, because I feel that that is important, you know, that my life isn't sunshine and roses, and you know, my laptop has broke a few times while I've been doing presentations, or the screen's gone and I've had to start it again, and you know, it's just how it is. But then through that, you become more confident in either talking or going to the gym or kind of whatever it is. So just kind of winding back to the topic of gym confidence, obviously for clients, how did you start at the gym? So you touched on it a little bit there, but how did you kind of start at the gym? How did you kind of approach that situation?
So starting in the gym, sorry, are we talking about me starting my fitness journey?
Yeah.
As like a 16-year-old starting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I touched on it. So stepping into that weight room, I'll always remember that, and just being like, I always remember this moment. I went to my best friend Max. I used to go to my best friends. I was like, can you help me? I don't know what to do for my chest. And he was like, yeah, just do this. And again, I wasn't doing it right. But I was like going into sixth form at the time, and like every free period I'd have every day, I'd cycle, and there was this massive hill. I'd go up it, push my bike up it, go home, get changed, and go to the gym. And I'd never give up. And it was the one thing. I was a very lazy kid at school. Like, I sucked at sports. I was a little chubby. I was lazy. I always gave up on stuff. And the gym was the one thing that came into my life and I never gave up on, even though putting like maximal years of effort in and seeing like minimal results, because again, didn't know what I was doing. And I just kept at it. And I think that just helped build my confidence. And over time, as like we said, I got self-educated. I learned, because there was no one there really to help me. But then I thought it was time. I was in Liverpool at the time. I was like, right, I'm going to hire a personal trainer. So I approached this guy called Ashley in the gym group. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, quite simply. Can you help me? And then I remember there was one time where I looked in the mirror, and it was the first time in my life that I actually saw change in my body, and I just burst into tears. And I'll happily admit that, because it was so like important to me, because it's all I wanted, because I've never been like happy with my reflection. And still to this day, people watching this or hearing this, they're probably going to be like, wait, a personal trainer, a lot sort of like still not happy with their reflection. I'm still not. I'm still working.
I think you're forever changing how you are, like, you know. And I talk about this when I talk about goal setting. You know, you'll set some goals and you'll think, oh, that's where I want to get to. And you get to that goal, and then there's always something new, and there should always be something new. You should always be striving for something. And, you know, you're never going to be 100% happy, but then that's the point of going to the gym, you know, and keeping it going all the time. You're continually improving, you're continually getting better. You know, you're continually striving towards a new goal, whether that's weight loss, whether that's weight training, whether that's getting fitter, healthier, stronger, whatever it is. You know, there's always somewhere else you can go, especially with the gym. It's not like a finite thing. You don't just stop going. It's like, it's forever. It's a continual thing, obviously, once you start going.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just like, oh, I've lost 10 kilograms. Right, that's it. Cancel my gym membership. See you later. Like, no. What's the next goal? And I remember Ashley telling me, he was like, you'll never be satisfied. I was like, yeah. And it's so true. So it's like, yeah, you can get to like a certain amount of body fat or feel like good, like lean, but you're like, maybe just a little bit leaner. You're always going to want more. Okay. But I love that. It's because it always challenges you. And that's why I like progressive.
And that keeps you going. Like, and you said obviously about that perseverance, and you was forever keep going. And, you know, that's an important thing of having that perseverance, even when things aren't quite right. And I just started by going to the gym and looking at the weight machines, so the plate loaded stuff, and be like, right, okay, what does it say on this machine? What do I need to do? What muscle is it working? And just kind of figuring it out that way. Like, never really did free weights, just obviously did that until I then kind of started going to gym classes and learned a bit in there. And then obviously I got a personal trainer because I was like, again, like you know, I want to lift heavier. I want to make sure I'm doing it right. But for anyone that's wanting to just kind of step into a gym that may never have stepped in a gym before, like what would be your top tips for taking the steps like through the doors?
Probably just number one, just do it. Like I always say, like don't knock something until you try it, because you don't know like what like magic it can actually like unleash. And again, you've got to be rubbish at something. And I always go back to like the job thing. You've always been rubbish. You've been rubbish on your first day of your job, all right. But how did you get better? Well, you kept turning up. Okay, granted, yeah, you probably wanted the money from it, but
yeah, there's that motivation there. But if you've got a goal, then you know that should be your motivation.
exactly. But you kept turning up, and that's the only way you're going to get experience. All right. So don't worry if you're rubbish at something. It's really good to be rubbish at something, because that's the way you're going to learn. All right. Just keep going. If I'd like gone at 16 and then quit at 17, I never would have been here like recording this video now with all the knowledge I know. And like I always like relate this to a driving instructor as well. Whenever we learn to drive, we've got two options, right? We can hire a driving instructor, which all of us do, because obviously it's the sensible thing, or we could learn to drive on our own. Now, one, that's going to take like so much more time, and more likely you're probably going to crash. Okay. But yeah, you could do it for free. But yeah, when it comes to our health and fitness, we never do that. So my advice is yes. And I'm not just saying this because I am a personal trainer, you are a personal trainer, but please like hire someone just to learn the basics, like a driving instructor. So you have someone by your side, all right, teaching you all the fundamentals, changing gear, roundabouts, whatever it is. And then at one point, you are going to get to that expertise level where you can drive on your own. You've got to pass the test. Yeah, okay, 100%. It's not like fitness test to pass or anything, but you don't need that someone next to you anymore. And yeah, you're still not the finished product, 100%. You'll, I think it's very true. A lot of people say like you pass your test and then the real experience begins driving. And it's so true when you're out there on your own with like no one going, oh, do this now, do this, blah, blah, have you checked your mirrors? But that's like the funnest part, when you can like take the reins or take the steering wheel, as it were, on your own. Whereas when there's someone sat next to you all the time, it's just like, okay, well, this is good and everything, but I'd rather be on my own. And everyone does that driving without thinking. And when it comes to their health and fitness, we don't realize in a gym, okay, yeah, it is quite a dangerous environment. All right, machines, they're the most stable and safe way to lift a weight, 100%. So start there, please, for your gym confidence. On a side note, but when it comes to free weights and barbells, geez, I've seen some things. And yeah, you over time, you can sustain injuries. You can drop a bar on yourself if you're lifting the ego and it's too heavy, you're not be able to get it off. So please just start with someone to learn the basics. You don't have to be with them forever. All right, not at all. It should just be like a driving instructor, teach you the basics. But if they're a good personal trainer, then I think you might want to stay with them, because like we touched on before, it's not just like, oh, I've lost 10 kilograms now. All right, see you later. No. What's the next goal? You've now done that. That now makes you lighter to maybe, oh, let's look at muscle gain as an option.
Yeah.
It's always the next goal. So please, yeah, just stop wasting time like I did for years, trying every fad diet, like looking on Men's Health, like look like Wolverine doing this workout. And it was just a workout anyone could do. And it's not going to make you look like Wolverine at all. Learn the proper ways just so you don't waste any more time. Because yeah, it's true. Life is short. You don't waste any more time. You're educated in knowing what you're doing. So then eventually you can take the reins. But yeah, going back to just my number one tip, just start. That's all you got to do. Like anything, please just start. It will get easier. You will suck at first, but the only way you're going to get better is by starting. But I hope that makes sense.
And I think if you're a little bit scared about going into the gym, the things I would say to people is, one, plan a day and time that you want to go, that you're going to go, and obviously make sure you stick to that. Take a friend if you can, you know, if you've got a friend that wants to start as well. Most gyms would probably do an induction or a walk around or show you something, or, you know, there's always someone on the gym floor, regardless of what gym you go to, that you can just kind of say, oh, is there anyone that could just show me the layout of the gym? Or even before you sign up for a membership, just go in and just say, hey, you know, I'm looking at joining the gym. Can you show me around? You know, that can then get you a little bit confident because someone showed you where the changing rooms are, the toilets, where, like you say, different areas of the gym are. You could ask them questions. You know, they are fully qualified personal trainers. Just because they're showing you around the gym doesn't mean that they are less qualified than anyone else. You know, I used to do that and ask them as many questions. I used to always ask people like what the goals are, what they're trying to achieve out of it, so then I could kind of tailor the walk around or the induction to kind of them. So that's a great way of kind of just knowing the area of the gym, having a walk around before you go, plan a day and time. Can you get a friend to go with you? And then have a plan of action when you get in the gym. I don't care with clients if they're just gonna go in, go to the changing room, go on the treadmill for 10 minutes, go back to the changing room and leave. It's about setting that routine in your life of going to the gym. And if you just want to go and do 10 minutes on the treadmill, still better than sitting on the sofa. Then the next time you might be like, right, I'm on the treadmill, I'm looking around, right, okay, I can see a free weights machine over there, or I can see this, right, okay, I think I can do that one, but I'm going to go and do that one. And it's about slowly building the confidence up over time. With my clients, I use an app, so they get a gym program from me, so they can see what machine they're going to. It's got the instructions, it's got a video, it's got any information from me. And I will always say to clients, if you are struggling or you're not sure that you're doing things right, video yourself and send it over to me, or just say, oh, can you send me a video of how this should be done? And I'm more than happy to do that. And it's just starting small, like I said, going in, just doing 10 minutes if that's all you want to do, and then building it up to 15 minutes to 20 minutes, and then getting off the treadmill and going somewhere else. And I think the more you're in the environment, the more you get confident with the environment, rather than, like you say, at work, you're in work like 8 hours a day. You're going to get confident in that environment pretty quick because the amount of time that you're spending there. Whereas if you're only doing like 10 minutes in the gym once a week, it's going to take a long time to build that confidence up because you're not spending enough time in that area to be confident in that area.
Yeah, that's it. And I think the best analogy or quote I heard was from a James Smith podcast, and he was like, just remember, every gold medalist Olympian or Olympic swimmer couldn't swim at one point. And that's when it really struck home for me. I was like, and it was like, it's so true. There was a kid, let's talk about Michael Phelps, probably one of the most famous ones of all time. There was a point where he was, whatever age it was, he probably started pretty early, where he first went into a pool. He's never been in a pool before, right? And he probably sucked at it, but now look at him. If he'd never gone in that pool, if he'd never carry on. Yeah, okay, it's a lot of strict training and stuff like that. But it's besides the point. And if he'd never gone in that pool for the first time, he'd never be where he was now. So you don't know what the future holds, because obviously no one's psychic, no one's Darren Brown, you can't see into the future. But if you don't start, you don't know what it can unlock. And that goes back to me saying when I was 16, it was yeah, okay, absolutely sucked. And I could nowhere near seeing myself lift the weights I do now, or having the better form, technique, stuff like that. Looking back when I was so depressed as a teenager, just with my body, now looking at it, I was I could never have dreamt I'd be in this position. But again, going back to what we said, I'm still not happy. I'm still going, all right? But if I'd just given up, then I never would have been in this position. So anyone looking to just start the gym, just do it, please. I know it's so easy that you might be thinking, oh, well, it's so easy for you to say as personal trainers, blah, blah, blah. But no, everything we've talked about right now, we've been in that situation, okay?
Yeah. But then say we've had a even enhanced one where we've had to teach classes or we've had to do consultations and stuff, and that's even worse. You're just on the other side. We're the ones that are having to deliver that.
Yeah, exactly. And you probably think we're there on the other end, nice and confident, but we're just faking it.
No one taught me how to teach a class.
Yeah,
just said, this is what you say at the beginning, this is what you say at the end, this is roughly a guide of how to do a class, and that was it.
Yeah, and I remember after delivering my first 2 proper PT sessions, basically I just started on the machines, and I was right, out of 10, how hard did you find that? Let's just do 3 sets of 10. I kept it really basic. Yeah. And I drove home with the biggest smile on my face, because they weren't perfect or anything, but I was oh my God, I've started my career. I've taught my first 2 PT sessions. And I feel it's always the fear in your head. It's the anxiety and everything like that. And it makes it out so much more worse than it's actually going to be. And then when you actually do it, it's oh, well, actually, that wasn't actually too bad.
Yeah, and I feel it's that fear, like you say, of building things up in your mind, and everyone's watching me. And I used to take clients into the free weights area, and we just go grab some dumbbells, we'll sit there for a minute, I'll go, right, look around, what's everyone doing? and they're all looking down at the phone, looking at themselves in the mirror, chatting. They're not interested in what you're doing. And everyone feels the same. Everyone feels that everyone's watching them, and it's like no one's watching anyone because you're all thinking that everyone's watching you. So and it's quite funny, like you said.
Yeah, exactly. And I just say, like, everyone's worried about themselves. Honestly, everyone is feeling like this. Even if you see the big guys like grunting away, swinging weights, whatever, they're there because they're trying to better themselves. Okay, that's why everyone is in the gym. And I feel like you need to treat it as like you don't care about any other cars on the road, do you? So just don't worry about these people in the gym. All right.
Yeah.
It's not like there's like a red Ford out there and you're like, oh my God, is he watching me, watching my indications or how I'm going to approach this roundabout? No, that doesn't happen at all. So honestly, everyone is so worried about themselves. And if this makes you feel better, I'm still worried about, I still get insecure. Okay. I still look at
I'm ask you the question, like, I don't know how you feel. So obviously we've got our certain gyms that we might go to that we feel comfortable with. How do you feel if you go on holiday or if you go somewhere else or somewhere new and you go to like a brand new gym? Like, how do you feel stepping into that brand new gym, even with all your knowledge and obviously what you know?
So I go in like two minds. It's like I step in and I'm a little nervous because I'm like, oh, well, I don't really know where to go and everything feels different. Even though it's like a leg press, I know how to use it. It's a different machine. And I'm like, oh, that's not the one I'm used to. But at the same time, I absolutely love going to a new gym. I don't know why. I just feel like this confidence and excitement comes on. I love going into like a new environment and trying it out. And it doesn't feel like I'm working out for some reason. It just feels like I'm really properly enjoying it.
In like a little playground or something.
Yeah, exactly that. It's like one of those like adventure like parts of like the ball pits and stuff as a kid. And it's like all this new stuff to play on, like different weights, stuff like that, new people, new music and stuff like that. So yeah, I get really excited and I need to go like train at different places more because I feel like anything, like
again, that grows your confidence by going to different places.
Absolutely. And training at the same place every day, yeah, it's good, but sort of like when you work there and train at the same place, but
it does get a bit boring, doesn't it?
It does a bit, but it has everything I need, sort of thing. And it's like more money to go train somewhere else, more petrol driving. So it's just,
I mean, that's another good point, keep the training interesting, like if you're not going to get confident in something if you don't like doing it. And I will always say to clients, only do what you feel comfortable doing. Don't do things that you're like, oh, I don't like doing that. Like I would never force anyone to go running because I personally don't like it. If you want to do couch to 5K, crack on, like that is fine. I will help and support you, but I'm not going to say to people that's what you've got to do as part of my program because I would never force anyone to do anything they don't want to do. And I know if I go into a new gym for the first time, I take my own advice. I mean, obviously I'll find where the changing rooms is, leave my stuff, and then I'll jump on the treadmill for 10 minutes. And on that 10 minutes, I'll just be scanning around the gym. What equipment can I see? What do I know? And like you say, I train generally in a pure gym, and I went to a JD gyms. The leg press is different, like the hamstring curl machine's different. I'm just like, what is all this? Like, how do you get on it? And even as someone that knows what they're doing, even different equipment, different makes and models, things work a little bit differently. And it's kind of like, oh, just got to jump on this machine and I've just got to put it on a low weight, try it out. Where can I feel it? Do I need to adjust anything? So even I get like a bit like less confident going into a new gym, especially, and I went on holiday last November to Jamaica. So it was like really old equipment, like really, and the chest press, you had to put your foot onto like a little pedal to release the handle. And I was like, this is really weird. But again, it was like, I'll just do 2 machines today. Right, okay, I know those 2. Right, okay, go. I know how to do a lat pull down. Let's do that. Oh, great, they've got a cable machine. They had like a leg extension, which also flipped into a hamstring curl. I was like, this is really weird. You just like flip the machine. And, again, it's just, we're confident to a certain extent, but we're not 100% confident in every situation. And I think if you remember that, it's just taking those steps and just pushing it a bit further, a bit more until you get confident enough to, do what you want to do in the gym.
Yeah, 100%. And just take each day as it comes. All right. Don't be worrying about like 1 month's time, 2 months' time. Just take each day. And as you said, just do what you can do and just do what you enjoy. And it might take a bit of a while to learn the gym, stuff like that, and then learn or find a form of training that you really enjoy. But yeah, please don't be like, doing like HIIT classes and burpees and stuff like that, if you don't enjoy them, all right, there is no like best exercise out there for like fat loss or anything like that. That's just a load of waffle.
Yeah.
You've got to find something you enjoy, all right. But obviously starting out, it's going to take a little bit of time to find that, and you're going to have to get familiar with the machines, get familiar with everything else. And like you said, yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Like you go into a different gym and it's like, well, I've used leg press, but this one looks different. Oh, there's a different handle there. And then all of a sudden I get really like unconfident. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how to use it. Am I going to drop this on myself? And I'll start feeling a bit like, oh God, but I'm going to look really stupid now, but I'm a personal trainer, so I should really know. But it's like, no, it's new to me. It's new stimulant. So yeah, it's absolutely fine to feel like that. So yeah, if anyone's listening, just please don't worry, we will go through it and we will feel it. And when something new does come along, yeah, it is new to us. It is normal to feel very unnatural, like, and that's why a lot of people don't like change and stuff like that. I remember moving gyms and you have to learn everything again, learn the weights, learn how everything works. But over time, it just becomes the new normal. And you're like, you look back and then you're like, why was I so worried? Like everything's fine now. But you had to start off in that uncomfortable position to get you to where you are now.
Yeah. And I think the last point I kind of want to go on is like with classes. So obviously we've both taught classes, and like I used to always ask at the beginning, is anyone new? And I know it's really hard to kind of like put your hand up and go, yeah, I'm new, or have you never done this class before? Because yes, you might have done classes and you might not be new to the gym, but you might be new to that specific class. And if the instructor knows that you know, they're either not necessarily going to keep an eye on you and watch what you're doing, but they're going to make sure that you are safe in that environment. They're going to make sure that you are lifting the correct weight. You're not doing anything stupid. So going in a class and saying that you are new or you're new to the class is, you know, it's not a bad thing. Like if I went and did some yoga and they went, is anyone new? I'd be like, yes, me, I don't know how to do it. Because again, you know, you've got that support from the teacher that can kind of show you and the instructor to watch what you're doing and like say, make sure that you are safe in that class environment.
Yeah, absolutely. And I completely agree with that. Like there's a yoga class in our gym that takes place. And if I went in there, there's clients I know who've been doing it for a while and very flexible, stuff like that. But if I went in as a PT, I'd feel so stupid because I've never done yoga before in my life. So I wouldn't have a clue what I'm doing. I'm not that flexible and I'd just look like a complete novice. So there you go. There's a personal trainer going into a new class with clients who maybe aren't the most confident on the gym floor where I am, but in that yoga class scenario, they'd have more experience, they'd be more confident. So there you go. Tables are sort of like, just learned 100% with the gym class. It's sort of like the thing I do like about classes is the community. And like you can sort of like make friends there and there's other people there to support you, so you're not the only one kind of thing. You're not there just on your own on the gym floor thinking, oh God, am I doing this right? Yeah, you do have an instructor there to help you along with anything that you're struggling with. So yeah, classes could be a good starting point. But on the flip side, again, if you're doing like a HIIT class and you're on a sort of like a 9 to 5 seated job, sort of taking yourself from like impact 1 to impact 100, so it might not be the best starting point. You might not have the mobility standpoint to be doing that class to begin with. So my advice is like sort of, as you said, start with like maybe just the basic cardio machines and the free, sorry, not the free weights, the weight training, resistance training machines. These are the best places to start with. These machines have been built with you in mind, so you can lift the weight in the most stable and safe position. Because think about it this way, if you're on like a free weight bench press and you drop it, you can't get it back out without someone's help you. But if you're on a chest press in like the horizontal position, just chest pressing up, and then if you can't lift it, you can just drop it and nothing happens. Your arms don't break or anything like that.
Such a safe machine to kind of use, obviously, and like you say, the machines tend to put you in the position that you should be in. Yes, sometimes you can move the seat and the handles and things like that, but they put you in a safe position where you can't really injure yourself. And like you say, if you drop the weight, all that happens is a loud bang. You know, you're going to injure yourself. And if you can't lift it, again, nothing happens. Like, you know, like you say, chest press, you can't push it. You just can't push it. Whereas, like you say, if you're doing an actual bench press and you're trying to push the bar away and you can't lift it, then you are stuck because it's going to fall back on you. Whereas with the machines, if you physically can't lift the machine or you can't move it, then, you know, nothing bad's going to happen.
Yeah, it's not like, like a red alarm bell is going to go off or something, like, oh, this person can't lift the weight, they can't do this exercise properly. Nothing like that's going to happen, right? No one cares. And what you got to remember is everyone like has had their headphones in anyway, so they probably won't hear it. But I remember using the assisted dip machine for the first time. And this is the one machine where the tables sort of turn on the weight, so you add more resistance. So the heavier you go, the easier it gets, instead of the heavier you go, normally the harder it gets. And I didn't realize this. So I was dipping away, I'd finished my set, and then it was all the way at the bottom, and I just stepped off, and it just went bang, and all eyes went on to me, and I just went bright red. And I was like, oh my God, I can never step foot in here again. But I did, I came back, because no one remembers and no one cares at the end of the day. It's like they'll have that little bit of laughter. I'll be like, oh, probably we've all been there. But then they just crack on back with their workout. And
like, oh, who made that noise? Okay, nothing. Carry on. So
exactly that. And what's the worst that's going to happen? Gym manager's not going to come over. You've banged this machine. That's your membership cancelled.
People bang the machines on purpose.
Honestly, that's the worst thing. Every rep, bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, look at me. Look how heavy I'm lifting. I'm making all this noise. It's like that. That's not the aim of the game.
Don't be one of those people. That's not what you want.
No, just the last point on classes as well. I didn't think I liked spin classes, because I was just like, no, don't like them, not for me. And then I got a PT, and he taught a spin class on a Sunday. He's like, oh, come to my class. And I was like, you get forced into it. And absolutely loved it. Went on to teach spin class. It was the best class I ever taught. I loved it. Used to do a 30-minute and a 45-minute. Like the tunes blaring, everyone loved it. It was like a sold out class. Like obviously it was free because it was a pure gym, but sold out class every Saturday morning at like 8 a.m. And absolutely loved it. So if you think, oh, I'm not going to like that class, the beauty of like JD and Pure Gym and all those chains is that the classes are generally free. Go in and try a class. If you don't like it, don't go back again, but make sure you try them all, because like I said, something I thought that I was like, no, who does a spin class? Absolutely hate it. So then actually going to one, enjoying it, going to a few different instructors. And I was quite picky. I was like, oh, I don't like their music, or I don't like the way they teach it. So even if you go to one and you're not quite sure in it, go to a different instructors, because it could just be the instructor. We don't all get on with everyone. We don't all have the same music taste or, the way that we do it. And it turned out that I absolutely love that class, and then used to teach it like 3 times a week, so it's goes to show that what you perceive to be something that you don't want to do. I don't think I'll ever change my mind on running though. But like, just go to a few different classes and different instructors that teach different classes, because one HIIT class, one fat burn, one spin, one legs, bums and tums is not going to be the same from a different instructor, because as we've just said, we got no script of what we needed to do, nothing at all. It was just teach this class. This is the muscle groups you're hitting, off you go. Or this is the tempo that you need to be hitting, off you go. And that was it. So we all just kind of not make it up. Obviously, there's a thought process behind it, but because of the way that it is done, everyone's class will be different.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you've got to trial all these different classes to find the one that works for you. Like you said, not everyone is going to work for you. I remember like doing an abs class, and I was just like, oh God, this is just pretty pointless. These people don't need this. And after the first set, I was like, you know what, I'm going to step in here. And I was like, I'm going to actually teach you how to contract the core. All right. And I'm going to teach you probably the only 2 exercises that you actually need for core, and 3 you could do every day to start strengthening it. And after that, they were like, oh my God, I've never contracted my core like that. And that was me feeling unconfident. It's like, oh, I've got to stick to the normal, 8 rounds of these 4 exercises, whatever it was. I was like, no, screw this. I want to help people. All right. And they were like, oh my God, that's amazing. I can really feel that like working my core. I was like, yeah, that's because you're just training your core, and you're not doing these waste of time exercises out there. And I felt so good after. I was like, I've actually taught like someone something that's actually going to help them now. And tomorrow, I think, starts I've been wanting to bring this new class in. Obviously, you get all the standard ones: legs, bumps, tums, spin, abs crunch, body block, whatever it is. And I'm bringing in one called functional form, because in classes I see so many bad like form, and in like a HIIT class of like 40 seconds, 20 seconds off, you can't change someone's form really. But in this class, I want to like start teaching people the proper form. So we're going to run through like different exercises, making sure everyone's performing them right. And I can't wait for it. I'm really excited. So I do enjoy teaching classes. I like the community. I like the buzz, and it's sort of like the same people. We're getting a little like family sort of like vibe going. I do love that, don't get me wrong, but I'm really excited to start this and start like helping people and like go outside the box of classes and not like the conventional ones. And if I can just do one thing to help one person, it's not even about trying to make them a client or anything like that, but it's just like, oh my God, I can help you like pull your knees out of your squat when like you descend, you're in a bit of spinal flexion, this is how to fix this. And it's just going to be great to show people, and they'll probably be like, oh my God, I never knew that before. I've been lifting wrong for years. And I was like, so was I, until I taught myself this. But if I'd never started at the gym, I never would have learned. So yeah, just to finish from me, just start. That's all I can say. It's scary, okay, but it's just the fear in your head. And I guarantee you, when you do it, it won't be as scary as you thought. You'll come in, endorphins will be pumping, you'll be like, oh, I quite enjoyed that. Actually, I don't really know what I was worried about. So yeah, that's all I will finish on. Just go for it and start.
Yeah, so that has been an absolute great chat. So thanks for jumping on. Hopefully my clients have got some amazing value about that, and like I say, you know, sharing our insecurities and our journey. So if anyone wants to follow you on Instagram or Facebook, what is your handle?
So my handle is at, obviously, Eventus, which is EVENTUS, and then coaching. Yeah, so Instagram's probably my best one, so that'd be great. And I do like hints and tips on fat loss and like how to lift properly, stuff like that. So yeah, please check it out if you would like. That'd be great.
Yeah, so thanks for jumping on. If anyone has got any questions after watching this, let us know or send us a message on Instagram, and I'll speak to you all soon.